find your guns that got took out of your truck?
They found one of them at a drug house in Baxley.
You got that one, probably got both of them, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. They've had it ever since a week after. I kind of kept it quiet. We're gonna go pick it up this week. Hoping that somebody will come forward. But, we got a pretty good suspect. They just can't get him to break. He's pretty tough. He's a young guy. He's in our school system. Yeah. Done been in trouble with the law several times.
They tied him up, he might talk. What are your low speed going on?
There are. I was at the accident the other night. And there was a officer. He said they spend most of their time covering wrecks and thefts.
Some over there, one that we didn't have too much trouble with, I think had 70 something thousand.
No, I'll give it something out.
I believe we did.
7,000.
Yeah. No.
Can't do it while you're here.
Turned gray yet.
It turned gray, that's right. I can hold right.
No, it turned loose.
Oh, man.
Now you're gonna open it, huh? You contaminated it.
All right, you ready? Gonna call this meeting in order for Jeff Davis County Commissioners at our monthly meeting. This time, Jerry, will you pray for us?
Let us pray then. Lord, we just thank you for this beautiful day, dear God, and Lord, we just ask you to forgive us for we failed in so many ways, Lord. And Lord, we just ask you to go with us through this meeting, Lord, and help us make the right decision that will be pleasing to you, dear God. And Lord, again, we just thank you for everything you've done for us, and all this we ask in Jesus Christ's sweet, precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to that. Please pray.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Approve the minutes of the regular meeting on August the 15th. That was in your package, if y'all read them. I have the floor open for a motion.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Motion by Jerry, second by Steve, all in favor? Thank you. Approve the monthly finances.
I'll make a motion.
I'm second.
Motion and second, all in favor? Thank you. Discuss or approve the motor grader lease renewal. We have two motor graders that's coming off lease. With John Deere.
There he is. I tried to tell him he was gonna be here.
Two coming on.
Yeah, we got
We got two motor graders, we don't have number six, which is the package. For the motor grader, we got two that's coming off. We would, I reckon we'd do both of them at the same time. We would like to keep one of them, and purchase it. We have the money in Splosh, and because, as I was saying earlier, if a road gets messed up here in town or on my side of town, the grader starts on the back of the highway and they go all the way around to the Bell Telephone Road on this side of town, the two graders. Then the other two starts on the right-hand side of the back of the highway and goes through Steve's area and all the way around until they meet. And so they can be, from Jerry's place to mine at Buller Creek can be 35 miles. And if a road gets messed up, we have to bring one deadhead to run that far. We need one around with this out here on Hatton Steel. Steve, you've been there for years, I mean, it's just a washboard. And we try to grade it every week anyway, if not twice, with all the traffic that's on it right now. Joe Norman Road is awful, and we need one that's local, that we can just take and have it shop, not going to hire nobody to run it, but have it there where if somebody needs it, that we can run out and grade a road or do something without having to deadhead one back 30 miles or whatever. And we can purchase it for $107,000.
Right, we have the purchase option at the end of the lease is what it
Yeah,
is.
at the end of the lease, you either turn it back in and we wouldn't know anything, or the buyout is $107,000. Then after that, we need to replace, the other one they'll come and pick up. We'll have 2 graders coming in to replace the 2 that's coming off lease. And the new lease agreement for 5 years would be $2,210.
Right.
Well,
$2,200 a month.
$2,210.
Yeah, it's $300 more than it was, and that's
$2,210.
$2,210.
Yeah. $1,105.
That's for each grader.
Each grader.
And we got money in
60
SPOS to cover that, the 5-year lease too.
How long will it take to get them? Or they already done?
No, we do not have, we had,
Had that out bid,
uh,
we have to do bid on
We've already got we got a second price on the Caterpillar, which we really don't want to exercise that option. It's about $13,000 cheaper, but they have the joystick, and we don't really, the learning curve would probably kill us with calls. Because they've tried them, and it's a whole different thing. So we're pleased with the John Deere, and that's kind of where we wanted to stay.
we get a super service on it. And, they'll call us a good many times and tell us to shut it down, and they'll tell where it's at. That there's a problem with the fuel, or a problem with this, or a problem with that, and somebody be on the way in the next 2 or 3 hours. And
So service captain to see it.
yes, sir. It's been real good.
I'm gonna tell people, just straight out call.
Did you have
The purchase on the John Deere is $233,000 and the Caterpillar's $220,000.
it. Let me ask you something, do you don't think it might be better if we can lease 2, lease 3, keep that $107,000?
Well, I think that probably, and now this is my opinion,
I mean, you're gonna spend it for 4 or 5 years.
well, that you go into, if we lease 3, then we're gonna have 5. And then we don't have the 4 travelers. And so the one of them is gonna be sitting, we're gonna be paying the lease bill
Not running.
and not running it. And this one, Jerry had asked, and I did too, I mean, we know that you can only put, I'll tell you what it is here. Any hours, it-
2,000 a year.
yeah, 2,000 a year.
5 year.
The 5 year would be for 10,000 hours, and it don't have it. And so the deal we'd be paying, we'd have to keep it, or either pay a good bit more money. So we wouldn't be running it, and we'd be paying full price for it to sit there, and wouldn't be putting any hours on it. And we figured we bought it at
But if you
107.
got a driver on, you could run it every day.
Well, we
With
could.
the roads we got.
We
If
could
you
have
follow,
6. you know.
follow the graders we got.
How many hours a year
They
we put
grade,
on?
they need to go back and regrade them.
How many hours? You don't know? I was just wondering if we ain't putting the 1,500, could we negotiate a different lease? I mean, if this 2,000 hours, this $2,200 is based on 2,000 hours a year, but we ain't using 2,000 hours.
You saying that they cost, rent them $1,105 a month
No, 2210,
a piece?
right.
Okay, that sounds all right.
But what I'm saying is if we ain't putting 1,500 hours a year on, we can probably negotiate a lesser lease.
Well, we put over 30 hours a week on every one of them. And 50, that's 1,500 a year, and for each one. And then some days, some weeks, we probably took 40. Well, I'd say probably we don't average over 35, 36 hours a week if we run them all the time.
I bet you ain't putting out 1,500. I just wonder if we can negotiate them to at least 1,500 hours a year.
You have had some that we had to park because we didn't allow,
Yeah.
couldn't use them for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, well, that Komatsu, that we took part did,
Yeah.
and I mean, we part did for about the last 6 months, that it was here, because we had run over the hours, or got right at the hours if we couldn't run it. I mean, it sat there for 6 more months, and then they let it there 2 or 3 months before they couldn't get it, they didn't even want it back.
But I think we got enough of what I call priority roads. I mean, you got Hugo Wood, you got Hatfield, the ones that you were talking about,
Yeah,
what
don't-
about, that need to be graded twice a week with the houses, with the traffic. And sometime it's 2 weeks before they grade.
And
You could keep it busy, I mean, leased or
Yeah.
Owen or whatever. You keep it busy if you hired another man just to run,
Yeah.
and especially in a wet time.
Well, we got, and I'm sure there's some way out in the county, but we got 5 within a mile and a half of the road department that we have to go to all the time.
Well, part of the thing is just like on the, going out towards York, Snipesville, remember we had all that work they had to do at the edge of the road? And that's where we needed it, so when you take a pair and you pull one off, it messes up, because we don't normally run, like you're talking about, one grader by itself, because it leaves that hump of dirt in the middle, and people will run into it, and we get calls. They don't know that they're gonna go to the end and turn around.
Not
So they would typically run them in pairs. This extra one is for other projects like that, where we have to, where we need something, and that'll keep us from having to
Where
stop
there's such a
the
drop
pair
off.
from running.
Such a drop off on the side of the road.
Well, and
Yeah,
Karen-
when we did that, we had to pull that, we had to split them up and pull that one just for that, so that's the purpose of this extra grader, not to increase the amount of roads that we're gonna be able to grade, because we need another pair for that, and another pair of operators too.
Like buying an extra spare tire in your car. You
I wonder
know,
how many hours is on? This has got the least one you want to buy that?
both of them the same price, but
I'm talking about, one of them got least hours and another.
I hadn't.
Well, they run together, so they know what he did was he looked at the,
He looked at
who
one
had
that had
driven
the
them and
best.
who had run them, and looked at the history on them and chose the best one. But the thing is, when you talk about different leases and different style, at the end of the lease, they have to be in top shape.
No, they come by, and if the tires is so far wore, then we have to put new tires on.
He had one of these graders that had a tire worn just a little more, and they were gonna knock us on it. And the grader we're gonna keep, it had the better tire, he swapped them out for that little bit, so that we wouldn't have to pay anything on the one we're turning in.
That's,
So,
we have to put some tires on. Might have been that.
I mean, this is virtually the same lease that we had before. And like I say, at the end, and we had to do a little bit of stuff. We spent, I think, about $1,500. So that it would be and return it in the top shape.
Well, now, with these new front wheel drive cars, I never understood why we run the pairs until they started talking about that. And like you say, if you throw it in the middle of the road, then it gets, somebody tears the mufflers off, or then we're responsible.
Right.
And so it's best, that, 2 does run where they not over 100 foot behind each other. And,
Yeah. So this would be an emergency situation where you do have a road that needs to be caught one way or another, or do some repairs like we talked about.
do we want to put it in a motion to whether we buy this one at 107, or, and then after that, do the motion on leasing the other 2, or how do y'all, it's on the table?
When they got to be turned in?
Let's do this month.
Do this
We
one.
need a decision tonight. We just got the bill on the two that we've got. We either got to pay the bill or turn them back, so we need to act on it.
The reason I was asking is 107,000, I mean, I don't really know, is that,
That's
is that what
that's
I know, is that,
Buy.
have anybody looked up and see if you could buy one with less hours? for
Well,
the
he
same amount of
he
money?
did look into buying a used one. It's just like anything else on something like that, you know, you kind of get what you pay for. This case is like a used car that you own versus a used car that you know, so he knows what it's made of and what kind of condition it's in without any guesswork. There's nothing hidden in it. Because they've already, for them to look it over, they've already come, for the lease to be turned back in, they've already come and went over both of them with a fine tooth comb, so we know.
They send their service man and another guy, and, well, when you turn traffic, you know how it is. And
I
they,
don't never run one.
you don't,
I don't ever run one.
okay, well,
I
they go over.
First tractor I ever had, sitting under the hill. No, you go to my place, you can tell I don't sell nothing.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you my opinion now, and I may be wrong with this, but I ain't got no problem if y'all wanna buy that for 107, because we agreed on that when we bought it. So that was what the residual value was gonna be. But for me approving at least two more, I think they'd be bids. I don't wanna just take the first lease that's offered to me. I think we.
Well, we got two
I
prices.
mean, we'll know how many hours we're putting on in a year, we can negotiate it, I mean, that's just me.
There's 5 of us.
I mean, it's got to be pretty well close to the same hours, because, I mean, they've been doing this now about 3 times. We've leased
Yeah.
about
I'm
10 or
old.
15 years.
Yeah. It's probably going on, this probably be the 4th, either the 5th time that we would be leased. Yeah, y'all leased,
We started back in probably '07,
I'm saying 6 or 7, so it's probably been 10 years.
and they had never done it before that, but, you know, when you look at the junk that they own, it's better off leasing before.
I agree with that, I agree with that.
Throw away money. I thought the excavator, it should have been gone 4 years ago.
Well,
Because it was a 5-year lease, and that thing might stay in the woods a month at a time. In water.
I've been here 8 years, and we got the best service with John Deere. It doesn't matter to me, and we had the Komatsu, and we have waited before as long as 2 months to get an O-ring.
You mean Volvo?
Yeah, Balu, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, Balu. And we waited 2 months one time for O-ring to come in, and we never run it. And Caterpillar, I know they're good machines, but we get the best service out of John Deere than we've ever got since I've been here. And I can say that, but now that's, like you said, Brad, they 5 of us, so.
Well, it comes down between John Deere and Caterpillar pretty much, and we got prices on both, and then Caterpillar has the learning curve of running off the joystick. And they brought one here, they went out and tried it, and tore up more stores to make it.
Well, they've done that one time before, and none of them that's down there has ever drove one with a joystick and didn't want it.
Used to, that's all you seen, Cat, but if you ride around these rural counties now, everybody's going to John Deere, and I think that's why, because of that stereo.
Yeah, because that's all they offer.
I came in late to catch me up to speed, so we're looking at a lease. But buy one used.
Keep one of the ones we got
Keep
on
one
the
of the
lease.
ones
that we got.
There's a balloon payment at the end, and
Mhm.
that's 107, we pay that, we keep one, we know what it is, it's in good condition. And then we basically renew the lease and continue the same way we've been for the next 5 years. At least 2 new
At least 2.
graders.
But word, I'd like to take, and is everybody in agreement, let's do it this way, to the one that we got on lease now, that we know what shape it's in, we've got the money in SPOS to pay for it, to buy the one for 107.
You just make a motion.
If I could get a motion,
Well, you can make a motion.
well, I'll make a motion that we do that, we buy the $107,000 motor grader. And, we got at least two more anyway to buy it.
I second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second, all in favor? All right. Now, on the table, we got at least two more. Gary said that we got to do it this month, they got to go back this month, and others come.
I got a bill today for either we pay the 214 for both of them, or we turn them back, so you just agree by one.
Yeah.
That leaves the other, we need to turn back and to keep them paying the 107, and then lease two new ones to replace these.
Here, are these lease payments the same as what we were previously leasing them?
Difference is 1908 and 2210.
So it went up $300
Mm-hmm.
per year.
Right, right.
5 years later.
Right.
36, so it went up $3,600 a year, 5 years.
15,000, so it went up 7.5%, basically. That's a little low. That's fair.
All right, so we got the table open if anybody wants to go on with John Deere. If not, then we're going.
So much on the whole contract, around 16,000 dollars. For 5
Well,
years.
3 down,
30,
12, 36 times 5, 16,000.
16,000.
18,000, I'm sorry, yeah.
36,000. Yeah, $18,000.
Yeah.
I like the service after the sale. I mean, since y'all say they're the best that we had that's been coming out was John Deere service after the sale. That's just people, so I wouldn't mind at least.
Put that in.
I'll put that in motion, the release of the two.
Have a motion, have a second.
I'll say.
We got a motion and a second, at least John Deere, the other two. All vote? Okay. Opposed? Thank you. All right. Number 7, discuss the proposed action on the upgrade of the fuel system. Our fuel system, the other night, we couldn't get fuel. Well, Gary probably,
Sheriff called and he had 2 patrol cars, couldn't get fuel. I had to call Robert, he had to come up here and reset the system. The system we got is antiquated, and the last time they had anything go wrong with it, they had trouble getting parts. So it needs to, the dispensers and the fuel delivery system need to be upgraded. That's what we're talking about, the fuel delivery system. The software that's on the old one is, I can't describe how, I mean, it prints out on a Daisy printer, you know what I'm talking about, in the folding sheets. And when they figure out what the city owes, they have to go through all of this and try to figure it out. The new system is such that we could pull up and look at a particular vehicle and see how much that vehicle is burning on every time they fill up and when they filled up. The new system, you enter the odometer reading, so we have a record of what needs oil changing, and it's just it's like going from the,
Just new technology.
yeah, it's just so much
Well,
better.
I mean, you got 2 motor graders, let's just use that example that we just voted on, and both of them the same size, and one of them burning 20 gallons of fuel a day more than the other one, something wrong.
That's exactly right. So this would have, we'd have a lot better
And you would
ability
tell
to
it.
look at all of this and manage it. I think there'd be a savings just in that itself, when you start managing.
What's the price?
The price for a new fuel delivery system and dispensers is $24,209. And we we do have the SPOS money to pay for that.
Let me see that picture again.
That's
That's
what we're talking about. The system on the right is the fuel delivery and.
That's the system we have out at Pointy Hatch. It's a good system.
24,209 is what it costs to. But the last time when it went out, Scooter, didn't have to go to Coffee County, having them parts, you remember that we would never got to go. I mean, you couldn't even order them. And Coffee County, gave us some and then sold us some that they had extra. And also, we knew that sooner or later it was coming up, and just
We're pumping 154,000 gallons a year out of there, or we did last year.
54,000.
So
How old is the old system?
It didn't come with nowhere, but it was.
It's,
98 or 99.
it's really pretty ancient.
We have the money for it?
And
Yeah,
it's
we
lost.
have money in SPOS.
Well, I'll make a motion that we purchase this new system. We got the money.
Can I ask a question for you?
Yes.
Did we just get one bid?
The guy that comes down from this had a bid on the gas boy and the fuel master, and both bids were about the same. The thing is, the one that we've got is the gas boy, and he said the new ones, they're having a lot of trouble with having to replace the keypads on them, and that they about quit even recommending them because they're having so much trouble with them. And there's a lot of costs afterwards, and some of the circuit boards give them trouble, that kind of thing, so he recommended the fuel master. But the price between the two is pretty much the same difference. This system also has a tracking that goes in, that you plug into your car, and when you pull up, if we ever wanted to add this down the road, when you pull up with a vehicle, the system here picks it up and it knows what vehicle it is, and it records the mileage and all automatically. And it won't dispense fuel if it's not a vehicle that's supposed to. So that's kind of interesting, but I didn't
That's
ask.
a lot more money.
I didn't ask how much that was. Because that, you'd have to have one of those for every vehicle, and that would be quite expensive.
All right, any discussion?
I need a second. You made a motion.
All right, we got a motion on the table.
Also.
We got a motion and a second.
Now you have some discussion.
Any discussion before we vote? All in favor? Thank you. Number 8, discussion approve the purchase of a finishing mower. We took and we have a rotary mower. Robert had pulled a tractor out of the woods back there, a smaller tractor, and got it going and running. Y'all know that we don't get the crew anymore from the Heritage Center, and there's a bunch of land over there at the old landing, and then there's a lot that could be cut with a finishing mower and a smaller tractor in the camping area and up around the building. What I would like, that we got a rotary mower that's over there that we don't use it for anything. It's not the ones we cut the grass with. It's one that, where you used to cut just a regular, I think it's a 6 foot, I believe.
Rotary mower?
Yeah. And so I would like for us to put it up for sale and get a finishing mower that we could put behind this tractor. The Omaha area, somebody had rented it this past weekend. I called Robert and asked him where the tractors were, and they was on the other side of town. And I told him, I said, well, don't bring them back to cut apart. But so Jerry had went out with a mower and cut up by the building and then around where the walking track. But we have about 15, 20 people a day walks there. Out in the Satilla area, we took the fence down, and so we're gonna start keeping it up and cutting it. And I think if we was to buy a finishing mower, plus down at Towns Bluff, that we could take and cut the day area and a good bit of the camping area with the smaller tractor and the finishing mower. And I'd like for us to take and No, that's what we'd have to let, Robert decide what size, and then, if we want to send it out and get bids on it, or how would y'all?
We're probably looking at 6 foot more, we would think.
I would, yes,
Yeah, I would like to see bids,
But
especially
if
locally.
you're gonna do all that like that, you need to go and get a commercial. You can get one of these cheap ones, you ain't got nothing.
yeah, well, I mean, and there again, it's not gonna be like at the golf course, I mean, we're gonna be out where trees is, and down into the thing, we would need to get a good one, and probably, it's about 12, 60. So you'd wanna get a 60 to a 72 inch, 65 foot. If you get too much, you don't want it hanging out beyond the tractor, because then you're gonna get hit.
And you don't want it too wide, because we're
Right.
trying to get in smaller places,
Yes.
and then you can get into
Yes.
the back wing over.
I would think probably a 60 inch, but I'm just assuming, but
Okay.
you want to be able to cut the
It's gotta cut
tire,
out the width of the tractor, really.
the width of the tractor, yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
If y'all want to make a motion, then I'll get him to get some prices and then bring them back.
I'll make a motion for us to decide first what size we need, Robert to decide, to get a price on a commercial finishing mower.
Got
Or some bids on.
Motion. Second. Steve, second. All in favor? Thank you. Approve of an error and release on Richard Herndon. Mr. Herndon had a trailer out behind Thompson Timber on Luther Turner Road, and it had went up in value, and nobody knows. I went over and talked to Kathy, and he paid the taxes on it, and it had went up a good bit. And so he came back and told them how much it had went up, and they went back and looked at it and said that it was in worse shape than it was, even if it was on the book to begin with. But he had came and talked to Susie, and then he had come to talk to Kathy, and he wanted a reimbursement. They had him to call me, and I explained to him that I was in the meeting last week at the tax assessor's office. They agreed that he should not have been charged that, and they wasn't for sure exactly what the credit would be till they went and plugged it back in and took it out. He was telling me $100, and that he wanted his $100 back, that he was overcharged, but it came up to be $88.72. I called him back and explained to him that how the assessor's office assesses property, but they don't handle the money. Miss Susie is the tax commissioner, she collects the money, but then she pays it to the office here, to the commissioner's office, the money, and it would have to go back through. So he agreed that he would accept a credit for $88.72 and let it come off of this year's taxes. And so it's an error and a release to where he was overbilled. So I need a motion to accept it.
I say,
Got a motion by Jerry, second by Hiroshi. All in favor? Did you vote, Steve?
You do.
Okay. All right. Number 10 is the update on the 2017 LDIG application. Last month when we was here, y'all voted for me to ride with Rusty from Hofstadter. We rode and looked at the places that needed paving. The road off of Pipeline, well, that's what it's called, Pipeline Road. Pipeline Road, it's off of LL Post Road, and it's not but 9/10, a little over 9/10 of a mile where it joins Bacon County. They done paved their road to there, but it's all the pieces, you know where I'm talking about, don't you? And then when it gets down to post road, it goes out real wide, so we're looking about a mile of pavement, and that whole road needs to be paved. We rode all the other roads and looked at them, like the Berkeley Ferry Road, I believe there was 3 spots in it, some of them 100 foot, some of them might have been 100 foot, and then you had 50 that didn't need pavement, but then you had another 70 that did, so it's best, them people don't like picking up movement, so once you tapered it in, that we decided, that should just be about a 300-foot pavement to reach from one place, not run out of 50 foot or 70 foot and then have to pave it again. We rode and looked at these all over the county. The only 2 roads that really had to be paved all the way was Corson Road from Omaha Highway to where Yon Road comes in. It's a little over a mile. He measured, I can't remember what it did measure. And the reason being there, the road is not that bad, but there's no shoulders on it. We had it down to paint it, the stripes on it, because there's no stripes whatsoever on either side of it, but there's no shoulders there to do. He's going to see if they can add like 30 inches onto the road that's there, and then come back and stripe it. And so we're not sure that that one would be on there. The only one that I can tell you tonight, and they're going to take and try to get some bids on coming. We know that all the roads that we had down, we rode and looked, and we're going to have plenty of money to do it. And one other road, Benjamin had asked, and I called him a couple of times, we couldn't get together, and it was on Barney Road below James Carter's house. There's a place there, and I don't know what happened. If we dug out the pipes and replaced the pipes, I called Robert. Robert said that he hadn't done it. They loose gravel in it now, and the other side of it, there's a place that's probably 100 foot that needs to be resurfaced. That's the road that I said in here, that the trees, you can touch them. I know you've been out there, Jerry. And they root pushing up in the road, making the pavement buckle and everything. And we had talked about 6, 7 years ago when James was here about people further down the road. He had no problem, and his brother David. And now that's been years, but some of the others didn't want to give up any land. And so.
That's the problem right there. Nobody want to give up.
Yes, sir. So he's going to let the people come and see what they think that they can do to help it. And that's the only new road that, besides the ones that we had listed. And I rode it, and I carried him and showed him.
What about McKinsey Landing?
The Kitchen Landing Road would be the very first that
It was on top of it.
it was on top of the list, and there's 3 places on it, and one of them is probably 400 foot from just about where you turn to go down the garbage, where the old dump,
Yeah,
from there to the dirt road that goes back to Eureka Church.
right.
And from there, then there's another spot up above the hill, and then one on the right.
Right.
And that we rode, he took pictures of them, he measured them, and we can get a lot more done by fixing and then get
The patch and the
the
piece.
patch and the piece that it needs
Right.
it. And,
Right.
and also, we know it's gonna cost more, because they're not gonna come and want to patch 200 foot and then pick up and go 2 miles before they do it again. But then we can still get a lot more done. So that's the report I got to bring back to y'all. Rusty, I talked to him today. Being we talking about roads, I don't know about anything again, about the paving, the striping on the.
Yeah, I would think so.
The part of the opening.
It's part, it is LB, it says, all right, these last 3 roads that we paved, they got to be striped, they got, I wrote them, I've told him different spots, the grader, I had been told that our grader got into it, and when I went and got Robert and all, we didn't go out there and do it. It was their grader that got into it. And I talked to, Hofstadter Chad, and he called the company, and they know they're responsible. They got some more shoulders that they gotta work on, that I rode and looked, and I told them about it. They've agreed to do it. Then the striping, we could have had the stripe that you just paint on, but for, I think it was $14,000 more, we could have the thermoplastic, and they last 10 times longer. And so that, and we had the money into LMIG because fuel was down, and that makes asphalt down. And so, we're going to take and put the thermo,
They're also more reflective too.
and it is a lot more reflective. And they're going to, we're going to put in on these 3 roads. We've held the money, and that's why I talked to Chad today, and I talked to Rusty, and they will not give them the 15%, ain't 15 that we hold? I think it's 15. And they won't be paid till we agree that,
We're satisfied.
we satisfied. And, but they're supposed to be back, they always want to wait 30 to 45 days before they stripe it. And he says it's been that now, or be before they could get back. And he hoped, I asked him today, that the darker that's coming earlier and the rain, you can't see nothing. And he said he'd try to get them in here that, to get the striping done maybe in the next 30 days. So that's the update on it. Y'all have any questions?
Yeah, I want to get back to the Barney Road. Well, what do you need per side? Do everybody need to give up what, ballpark figure?
Well, I can't tell you, we don't accept the road no longer than 80 foot or 85, 80 foot. That's one that had never been done. If I would think, and I'd rather talk with Carla, and we see, I think that road probably was 40 foot. I have not checked.
40 foot per side?
No, 40 foot total that we got now.
I ain't sure it's 40, I ain't sure it's 30.
Riding, I think it was 30.
Well, that was
Because-
in the middle 1%. They just pay for the
Maybe
dirt.
just a waste of money.
Well, I don't want to put this.
So,
Well,
okay,
that thing's been there a long time.
So if I could just, get
They ain't gonna want to overlap.
if I can get a consensus from the people that give up road, I mean, would it have to be 100%
When they go back to
No,
the
I
paper,
mean, they,
they rent
we
the
probably-
service and they ain't paid.
if we could get 10 foot off each side, then we could go there, cut the trees down. I mean, they start turning trees that big.
Yeah, I know it.
They close to Jerry.
Yeah.
I'm serious now.
No,
Okay. And so if we could get 10 foot and clear it, and then be able to put a ditch, and all, now that's just my opinion, riding and looking. Now, that being that it's not a new road, and it's just upkeeping the road, could,
We'll have to look first and see how much we're initially there.
yeah,
Okay.
If it's 30, 40, we should have the right of way.
well, 10 on each side, 20 more foot. And if it was 40, 20 more would work. So, I mean, I don't know.
And basically, all I want to do is see if they give up some money for the road. And this going from one end to the,
Well, don't ask them till we know how much. Let Carla
Let Carla.
search, go up there and see what it was. If it's 30 foot, then 10 more is not gonna give you enough to have a shoulder and a ditch. And also,
You can't dig a ditch without having a shoulder.
you gotta have a shoulder on the road, and then you got to have taper the ditch on the other side. And, so let's, we'll let Miss Carla research and get back and tell us what it was, and then see what we could get by with. Anything else on LB? All right. Number 11, approve to rescind the previous vote regarding the monthly deposit to the jail fund and approve the annual deposit.
Brad's concern was that this might fall between the cracks if we do it annually, but our software has the ability for us to put in a recurring invoice so that it comes up and we know that it's to do. And it makes it much cleaner if we start doing it monthly. At the end of the year, we won't have an actual number of what, in other words, that's included, the fines are included in the revenue that the county takes in. If we start pulling it out every month, at the end of the year, it won't be there, it won't be accounted for. In terms of bookkeeping, it's better if we do it on an annual basis, and the sheriff's department's fine with it too, so. And we've got it fixed where it'll come up and we'll know, so it won't be a problem.
And the bookkeeper, our auditor said it would be better.
Right, well, I talked with them about that, getting into the debits and credits, and it's just a lot cleaner if we do it at the end of the year. We just debit cash and credit jail account. And it's only $2,500 a month, so it's not hardly make much difference in doing it monthly.
And you talk to the sheriff, and the sheriff is okay with it.
Yeah, they don't, I mean, if they need it
I
in
mean-
the middle of the year, and, you know, they don't care as long as they get it, they put it in there at the end. It's not something they're gonna be using until they actually start with the jail,
Yeah.
so,
Runs me $30,000 a year then.
yeah.
If it's easier, I ain't got a problem with
All right.
it. As long as the money be there to put in.
Right.
All right. Then, will you put that in motion?
I like motion.
Okay, Gary made the motion. Steve second. All in favor? I appreciate that. All right. Number 12, appoint member
Was your
for the
motion-
county.
I'm sorry, Chairman, was your motion to rescind the previous vote, we would have to
Yeah.
vote to approve the nine?
Approved name, Father.
Yeah,
That will be-
so we need a motion then.
All right,
I'll make a motion.
all right. We've got a motion on the table to approve it. Motion second. All in favor? All right, so we rescinded it, and now we approve it. Thank you. Councilman. Number 12, appoint members from the county to attend the 2017 Okefenokee occasion held in Atlanta, Georgia. This is when they got the session going on in Atlanta at the depot. We hadn't done it probably in about 4 years, Sherry. And the last couple of times, we went fishing one time, done something else another time with different ones in our area. But this is where you go up and, 10 members go. They've notified Miss Bonnie Hewlett, and the city would, Mr. Stone was in the meeting last week at Development Authority and said that they would like to send all if they could, but, at that time, and Gary, if I'm wrong, let's set me straight, that we said 4 from the county, 4 from the city, and 2 from the Development Authority.
That seemed to be kind of a good fit, but we do have a commitment from the Development Authority that only 2 of us are gonna go, so the remaining 8, that's really between y'all and the city, however y'all wanna work it out.
All right, it's, regular $150 a person to go, and, but I believe that we agreed to.
It's $1,500 regardless if you have, say, 4 members or 10.
Yeah.
It's $1,500. If we do 10, then it just works out to $150.
That's something we already agreed to split, what?
Yeah, the city.
Yeah,
the city's gonna pay
$1,500.
for it.
Yeah, we had agreed.
The city's gonna pay 1,000, we're gonna pay 500.
And then the Development Authority gets to go free.
Yeah.
I'm down with it. Okay. Can I get a motion?
I think it was the Development Authority, the city, and the county,
No,
500.
his first reaction was the correct answer.
500 apiece. And, so, if, one thing that I can say, if you're going to do it, there's so many there that night that you don't get much time with them. But plan to go the night before and spend the night, or either get up early that morning and go and be able, you can go ahead and we can set it up different times to meet with Greg Mars, with, Pruitt, Dominic Pruitt, different ones that, where you can meet, tell them your problems, your troubles. Most of the time, they try to limit it to 30 to 45 minutes, in their office. And, we can, you know, whoever at this time, that 4 of the 5 that's here wants to go, then, but I think it would be very, very, important to either go the night before.
Well, we usually do get up early and leave and spend, have our time set, and then
Yeah.
stay with the meal
Yeah.
at night,
Yeah,
and come home.
and then come home. And so, the only bad thing about that, if you leave here at 5 o'clock, you're gonna get that stuff like you got in Sunday, when you get up there to the airport at 8 o'clock in the morning, you better not sit there meeting at the Capitol till after 10:30, 11, so you can't be sure you're gonna be there. And, what we need to do is, take and, is it good with y'all for 4 to go off the board?
I ain't got no problem, but I know I'm. Well, that's, man, I work for myself and I just work, I lose money. And I ain't gonna be here after January, so I ain't no need me wasting taxpayer money. I'm gonna be sitting
I
right
think
there.
Gary definitely needs to go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Huh?
you need to go.
Gary, Jerry,
Hey, not me.
Brad.
That's for commissioners.
No, that's for,
But we've got, if I'm not mistaken, we've got new representation, that's been elected, they'll take office as of
Yeah,
January
can we
1st,
just,
too.
can we just?
Yeah,
say
no, I
four?
mean, we ain't gotta call them names.
We gotta
I
call
just
them.
wanna make sure that 4 would
Before
go.
we go.
And,
I think you can get both,
okay. All right.
including Gary.
Thank you so much,
All right.
Commissioner Cruz.
I just nominate you money.
Everything, all right, what I need tonight from y'all is a motion to, Sherry's got the okay to send our $500 to Bonnie. I think she's got it carried, this week, Friday, Thursday.
No, there's a meeting that's actually this week for the occasion, but the monies aren't due until mid-October, so we still got like 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks before that money's due.
Okay. All right, well, she had
I'll
called me.
make a motion.
Yes. We got a motion to go ahead and pay $500.
What time's 150?
Got a second?
What time's 150?
Yeah, $600 if 4 of y'all are gonna go.
You pay the 500 and send for, it's gonna be more than 500, 150 person after 500.
Okay, now, but, all right, if I'm wrong, so.
Ain't that right? Ain't that what you said?
Yes.
It's 500, and then 150 a person.
No.
No,
no.
$1,500 for 10 people to
For
go.
10 people,
And-
and if they don't want 4 go, it's
If they don't 4
$1,500.
go, it's still 1,500. But
Right.
now, did I misunderstand that we were gonna split it 3 ways, 500,
Right,
500?
That was a suggestion before.
Yeah.
We had no idea who was gonna go, there was no limits of how many people were gonna be going or anything like that. That was just a theoretical, out there number. But if 400, I mean, if 4's going from here, 4's going from the city, so $600 from y'all, $600 from the city, and then 2 from the development authority, that's $300 for us.
Be 600.
Where the confusion comes in is, when I said a while ago, it doesn't matter if you have 1 or if you have 10, it's still $1,500 per community. So 10 of us going, that's equal to $150 per person.
That saves the county taxpayers $1,000.
$800.
Well, the county will pay $900 with these two entities. No, did I get that right?
We're paying,
Yeah,
yeah,
600,
6 and 3.
600,
But,
900.
yeah.
900, yeah.
And then the city's paid 600, so if you pay 500 from these, that's 1,000, so you're saving $100 by doing that.
But now you gonna pay your 300
Yes,
out
the
of
development
your.
authority's gonna pay for all.
Okay, all right, so, for the motion on the table, that we send $600
4 people.
for 4 people. And if something comes up, come first of the year, or whatever it is, if we don't, and 4 don't go, and the city's got extra that wants to go, then
Then that'll be fine.
that'd be fine.
Or development.
Yeah.
So he's already made
I
that.
got a motion.
I'll say.
Brad seconded, all in favor? Okay. Thank y'all. I'd like to pull one on. All right, number 14, public comment. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Hold on.
yeah.
I'm backwards, I got the
Let's just
wrong
skip
one.
over.
Yeah, I got the wrong one.
He want $300
That's a good. Actually, tonight, what the Development Authority is here to do is to advise the county commissioners that we use a revolving loan fund for a prospect that we're working with right now. However, I'd like to defer any future comments or vote until after executive session, because I need to discuss with y'all the project and land before we go any further with the revolving loan fund. So I'll wait till after we finish with executive session before we do any more. That's okay with y'all.
Okay.
All right. Now, public comment, 5-minute time limit.
I got one question. On the purchase for the software upgrade for the fuel system, y'all mentioned it's coming out of Splosh, but is that gonna come totally out of the road department, or is it gonna be split up some kind of way?
No, it's road department.
Will be road department, okay.
All right. Is that it?
For me,
Okay. All right. I need a motion to go into executive session.
Offer the motion for executive session.
A second.
Move second, all in favor? All right.
you gone?
Yeah.
All right. I need a motion to go back into session.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? All right. We're opening the meeting back up. We have, the Development Authority wants to give, donate some land or
We'll need the land.
deed the land back to the county to be able to be in our possession. That, so do I have a motion that we accept it?
I'll make a motion to accept the land from the Development Authority to the Board of Commissioners.
I second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay. Unanimous. All right.
All right. Also here tonight to discuss with you about the revolving loan fund. As y'all are aware, the revolving loan fund was originally established, I believe, back in 2004. Actually, no, I'm sorry, 2008, when McPherson Manufacturing was bringing some business back home. And since then, we've done an additional loan out of the revolving loan fund. The revolving loan fund has performed extremely well. There's never been a delinquent payment. And we've built some equity in that account by use of the interest that we've accumulated. And the Development Authority has been approached by a new prospect, which we've been asked to keep confidential who they are at this time. But after close and careful consideration, we've come before you tonight to advise the council to issue a loan for $236,636 to our new prospect, which will create approximately 50 jobs.
236.
$236,636.
And that's just not to give to them, but to offer, because we're not exactly 100% sure that this new prospect's coming in or not. Is that correct? I just want to make sure. That's right. Since it's
pending
all
some
still
studies.
confidential, we still can't.
Right,
Not
pending
for sure.
some, exactly, pending some environmental research that's going on right now. If that comes back clear, then yes, they're ready to go. I forget where I was.
I'm sorry.
$236,600.
All right, the 2 and 3, right, exactly. As I said, they're gonna create 50 jobs approximately from the get-go. Over the next 3 to 4 years, we'll be looking at approximately 80 jobs. Also, we're gonna have a $500,000 investment to the property, which is permanently affixed to the property. And then in addition, some other capital not attached to the property. However, we, in other industries that have come to this community, we've done things such as tax abatements over 10-year periods and stuff like that. This is not. This is actually going to be a straight out directly to the tax digest. So any improvements immediately will be taxable, including the land, everything.
And if you don't mind, if you're just doing like a brief support of a revolving loan is that we have to, if we don't spend
Right.
out that part of
The
it.
revolving loan fund came to us by way, as I said a while ago, the first manufacturing was the Lee Bird that brought the revolving loan fund to fruition for us. It's a grant to the county. And then from the county, the development authority, being the custodian of that account, is a loan to any current industry or future industry. If they're going through expansion projects, or if they need to do capital improvements, new equipment for new technology, new products, it's good for things like that. So it's not a grant to any business. We actually get the grant from the state, and then we loan that money out, and we build somewhat of like a reserve fund for economic development. Some communities call it a closing fund, which is a great thing. I've heard of other communities in Georgia that use their revolving loan funds to kind of seal the deal and offer below, and the purpose of that is to become competitive. If an industry goes out and the bank is offering a 5% loan, then we can come back and say offer a 3 or 2%. And it's typically the closings are cheaper. And we can work with them on the term, however long they want the loan to be, whatever works out for them, as long as it's comfortable with us and you guys. In our case, I don't think we'll be looking at any more than 10 years, which has been exactly the same terms that we've had on the 2 we already did. So it's really an extra tool, probably one of the most useful tools in economic development. On top of all that, when we went to DCA and the Georgia Department of Economic Development and had a meeting with them about the project, they said that it was highly more advisable for us to use that revolving loan fund first before we apply for any grants. Well, it just turns out to be they don't need any more than what we have in the revolving loan fund. So it kind of worked out like a hand in glove. Answer your question on that? Kind of run
Just
this
make
a
sure
bit.
that they understand too, that you have to, you can't just keep that money in a revolving loan fund and use it
That's right.
somewhere else.
Right.
You
And
can't put
then
it
we-
in the general fund to use it, it has to keep coming in and out, is that
That's right.
correct?
And it can only be used for economic development.
Okay, I want to make sure they were clear with that.
That is correct. Also, she is correct. If we don't use those funds over a certain period of time, then we have to decommit those funds back to the state or repurpose the funds. Which right now, we love it being a revolving loan fund because we continue to build that equity.
We need a motion to,
Pending.
just pending or.
Yeah, well, actually, what we're asking from y'all is to approve the use of the revolving loan funds for this project, pending that we get the clear environmental report that we need in order for them to.
And the second out for the,
I make a motion that we loan the money, depending on if they get the research back, correct?
Yes, sir.
if the project moves forward.
Right.
Correct.
All right, got a motion?
I second.
Got a second? All in favor?
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. All right, well, we'll adjourn. Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. Well, I want everybody to know I ain't lying.
Appreciate it.
I'm lying from,
I'm gonna count some flowers.
yeah,
Oh, let me know about that other. Be good, girl.
You too.
Actually got all the notes again, they asked me the same question what I did.
I'm glad that you didn't let nobody.
Yeah, the lady, she's actually over, but. we got
Okay.
two
We're
in.
close. All right,
She's finally
okay.
coming to town. Rhonda, see you later on.
Bye.
Check in on that, see if any.
I will. Have you called it? Have you done it?
No, we just got word.
Time to go home.